I've always been told that I think too much, that I read too deeply into things, or care about details no one else even notices. But the truth is, I can't turn it off. My mind doesn't just observe, it absorbs. Every word, every silence, every subtle shift in energy becomes something to decode. And maybe, like me, you felt that constant hum inside the one that never quiets even when the world outside finally goes still. There's a strange kind of loneliness that comes with this way of being. You can sit in a room full of laughter and still feel miles away. Not because you don't belong, but because your mind is somewhere else, analyzing, connecting, remembering. You notice the flicker in someone's eyes when they say they're fine, the smile that doesn't quite reach their soul. You read what others overlook. It's both a gift and a burden, a sensitivity that feels like both light and weight. Science has a name for this. Researchers call it high activity in the default mode network, the part of the brain that lights up during reflection, imagination, and self-awareness. It's what makes people like us creative, intuitive, and empathetic. But it also means our inner world is louder than most. Our thoughts loop endlessly, replaying moments and searching for meaning long after others have moved on. Not because we want to suffer, but because our minds are wired to understand. But awareness is a double-edged sword. Seeing so clearly means we can't unsee. We sense the fragility in people, the impermanence of love, the quiet ache of time passing. Psychologists call this emotional complexity, the ability to feel multiple emotions at once, joy and sorrow, hope and fear, connection and distance. It's not confusion, it's capacity. It's the beautiful ache of feeling everything all at once. Still, I've learned that this depth isn't something to fix, it's something to honor. Because deep thinking is how we turn pain into wisdom, confusion into compassion. Our thoughts aren't cages, they're mirrors, reflecting the parts of us still longing to be understood. Every overthought moment is really a quiet attempt to make peace with the chaos within. And maybe people like us aren't broken. Maybe we're just built differently, built to see what others overlook, to feel what the world has forgotten, to notice the invisible threads that hold everything together. We were never meant to live on the surface. We were meant to dive to find beauty beneath the noise, meaning beneath the motion. So if your mind feels too loud, if your thoughts refuse to rest, know this: your depth is not your flaw, it's your light. It's the way your soul keeps reaching for meaning in a world that too often forgets to look. If you've ever felt like your thoughts are too loud for this world, this video is for you. Because today, we'll uncover the 12 hidden psychological traits of deep thinkers and what they reveal about the way we see, feel, and heal. There's something different about the way our minds work. While most people move through life reacting to what's in front of them, we're constantly observing what's beneath it. Our thoughts don't travel in straight lines. They spiral, connect, expand. One idea becomes 10, and before we know it, we're tracing invisible patterns between things no one else seems to notice. To us, thinking isn't an activity, it's a landscape we live in. Psychologists call this high introspective awareness, a natural tendency for the mind to turn inward, reflecting deeply and constantly seeking understanding. It's what fuels our creativity, imagination, and empathy. Studies show that people with this trait often display heightened activity in the default mode network, the part of the brain that lights up during moments of reflection, memory, and self-awareness. It's the same network that allows us to connect past experiences with future possibilities, weaving thought into meaning. But this depth comes at a cost. When your mind never stops, even silence has a sound. You can sit in a quiet room and still hear the echo of your own thoughts, emotions brushing against memories, ideas colliding with questions. It's beautiful, but it's heavy. It turns ordinary moments into mirrors of the soul. A conversation isn't just words, it's tone, energy, subtext. A passing glance becomes a story waiting to be understood. This happens because our minds engage in what neuroscientists call depth processing, when the emotional and analytical parts of the brain work together at the same time. That's why we don't just think we feel our thoughts, we can analyze everything and feel everything simultaneously. It's both our superpower and our struggle, because we don't only experience life, we interpret it layer by layer, meaning by meaning. Deep thinkers, by nature, live in two worlds: the outer world that demands quick reactions and the inner world that craves depth. Society values speed, certainty, and surface confidence. But we move differently. We linger, we listen. We question what others accept without thought. To many it looks like hesitation, but really, it's awareness. It's our way of hearing the quiet truths beneath all the noise. And yes, that can make us feel misunderstood. Not because we're detached, but because we see too much, feel too much. We don't just love, we study love, its language, its pauses, its silence. We don't just experience pain, we try to find its meaning. It's not overthinking, it's overfeeling. And the world doesn't always know how to hold that kind of depth. Yet, there's something sacred about this way of being. The deep thinker's mind is both microscope and telescope, seeing the smallest details of emotion and the farthest edges of human truth. It's a gift that can feel like a burden until we learn to use it with gentleness. Because what we call thinking too much is often the heart's way of trying to understand, to connect, and to heal. And that's where our real story begins. Because behind this quiet intensity lies a pattern, 12 hidden psychological traits that define how deep thinkers see, feel, and move through the world. Each one reveals not only how our minds work, but how our hearts heal. Let's explore the 12 hidden traits that reveal what it truly means to be a deep thinker. 1. Heightened awareness. Deep thinkers don't just see, they sense. Maybe you've noticed how someone's smile fades too soon, or how the energy in a room shifts before anyone speaks. It's not imagination, it's awareness on a higher level. Psychologists call it sensory processing sensitivity, a trait common in intuitive and creative minds. You can read people and emotions like an open book, but when you notice everything, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. The real strength lies in learning to filter, to ask, what truly deserves my attention? That's when awareness becomes understanding instead of exhaustion. 2. Emotional depth. For deep thinkers, emotions aren't surface waves, they're entire oceans. You don't just feel happy or sad, you explore the why behind every emotion. It can feel intense, but it's also where empathy is born. Studies from the American Psychological Association show that people who understand their emotions deeply, a trait called emotional granularity, are more resilient and compassionate. So when you feel things deeply, don't see it as being too emotional. It's not fragility, it's the purest form of emotional intelligence, your heart's way of understanding life fully. 3. Reflective introspection. You've probably spent hours thinking about why you feel or act a certain way. That's not overthinking, it's curiosity turned inward. Deep thinkers naturally reflect, searching for patterns inside themselves. Psychologist Carl Jung called this individuation the process of understanding and integrating every part of who we are. It's not self-criticism, it's self-connection. Every moment of reflection brings you closer to truth, to healing. Because growth doesn't start when we fix ourselves. It starts when we finally understand ourselves. 4. Existential curiosity. Do you ever find yourself questioning everything? Love, purpose, existence? That's not confusion, it's existential curiosity. Deep thinkers want to know not just what happens, but why. Psychologist Howard Gardner called this existential intelligence, the ability to seek meaning beyond the obvious. Yes, it can make life feel heavy at times. But real peace comes when we stop chasing all the answers and start learning to live gracefully with the question. 5. Overactive imagination. Your mind doesn't just think, it creates. One thought becomes 10, one memory becomes a story. That's the gift of an overactive imagination. Neuroscientists say it's linked to higher activity in the brain's default mode network, which controls creativity and reflection. Time. It's why you can lose hours daydreaming or writing. But imagination can also amplify fear if you let it run wild. The key is to guide it, to use your creativity not to escape reality, but to transform it into something meaningful. 6. Sensitivity to energy. Have you ever felt the mood of a room before anyone said a word? That's not coincidence, it's your natural sensitivity to energy. Psychologist Dr. Elaine Aron calls it high sensitivity, present in about 20% of people. You pick up on emotions, tension, even silence. It's both intuition and empathy working together. But if you don't set boundaries, it can leave you emotionally drained. Healing begins when you learn to feel without absorbing to sense, deeply, but stay grounded in your own peace. 7. Need for solitude. For deep thinkers, solitude isn't loneliness, it's a lifeline. You need quiet to breathe, to think, to return to yourself. In a world addicted to noise, your alone time becomes sacred. Studies show that reflective solitude improves creativity and emotional balance. You don't withdraw because you dislike people. You withdraw because silence helps you remember who you are. Solitude isn't an escape. It's how you recharge your spirit before sharing your light again. 8. Overthinking as analysis. People might say you overthink, but really, you analyze. You replay moments not to torture yourself, but to understand them. You look for meaning, lessons, truth. It can be tiring, yes, but when you channel it through journaling, mindfulness, or deep reflection, your thoughts become wisdom. So it's not about shutting your mind off, it's about guiding it with awareness. You're not overthinking life, you're learning how to live it more consciously. 9. Empathic intelligence. You can feel someone's pain before they speak it, and that's empathy, but with awareness. Psychologists call it cognitive empathy, the ability to feel with others while still staying centered in yourself. It's what makes your compassion powerful and grounded. You don't drown in emotion, you hold space for it. Your empathy isn't weakness, it's emotional clarity. It's how you connect deeply, not through pity, but through presence. 10. Pattern recognition. You see what others miss, the small patterns that reveal deeper truths. Maybe you notice how people repeat the same mistakes or how life keeps teaching the same lesson until we learn it. The brain of a deep thinker is wired for this pattern recognition, something researchers at Cambridge linked to creative problem solving. It helps you predict, understand, and make sense of chaos. But once you start seeing beneath the surface, simplicity can feel impossible. Still, that's the gift, finding meaning in the mess. 11. Existential loneliness. Every deep thinker knows this ache, the quiet feeling that no one sees the world exactly the way you do. It's not depression, it's awareness, the recognition that consciousness itself is solitary. But that loneliness also becomes connection when we realize others feel it too. The moment a deep thinker says, "You too," the ache softens. Because shared understanding is the cure for isolation. 12. Transformative insight. The greatest trait of deep thinkers is their ability to transform pain into meaning. They alchemize suffering into art, heartbreak into empathy, confusion into truth. This is what Carl Jung called the wounded healer, those who grow through what they've endured and guide others toward light. For them, thinking isn't escape, it's evolution. Every question becomes a doorway to self-awareness. Every scar, a story of growth. Each of these traits is both a challenge and a blessing, a delicate balance between chaos and clarity. Yet when we learn to understand and honor them, they stop feeling like burdens and start becoming guides. Because deep thinking was never about gathering more knowledge, it's about growing into deeper versions of ourselves. It's not about escaping the world, but about seeing it with greater truth, compassion, and meaning. There comes a moment when we realize our depth was never the problem, it was the misunderstanding of it. The same mind that once felt like a storm can become a source of stillness. Healing begins not when we silence our thoughts, but when we learn to listen to them with kindness. Because peace isn't the absence of thinking, it's the presence of awareness. The first shift is from overthinking to awareness. For years, we've tried to quiet our minds, believing that less thinking meant more peace. But every looping thought was only asking to be understood. When we stop fighting our thoughts and start meeting them with curiosity, reflection becomes mindfulness. Awareness doesn't demand silence, it invites understanding. It teaches us to think consciously, not constantly. The second shift is from absorbing to filtering. Deep thinkers feel everything, the weight of words left unsaid, the tension others can't name, the collective hum of emotion in every room. But not everything we feel belongs to us. Healing means learning energetic boundaries, the quiet art of sensing without absorbing. Because empathy without boundaries becomes pain. Empathy with awareness becomes wisdom. The third shift is from isolation to connection. For so long we believed our depth made us different, even alone. But the truth is, there are others like us, quiet souls who think slowly, feel fully, and seek meaning beyond noise. Finding them reminds us that depth was never meant to separate us. It was meant to guide us toward our tribe, those who can meet us in the deep. Psychologists call this process integration, the alignment of awareness, emotion, and self-compassion. When we stop resisting who we are, even the brain begins to heal. Studies show that mindfulness and self-reflection can calm the default mode network, easing the very rumination that once consumed us. It's not about turning off our minds, it's about learning to guide them home. And maybe you're not too much. Maybe the world just forgot how to feel deeply. Your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's perception. Your reflection isn't hesitation, it's consciousness. The world needs hearts like yours, steady enough to feel pain and still choose love. So if your thoughts have ever felt too heavy to hold, take a breath, because maybe they were never meant to be a weight, but a doorway. A way for you to see deeper, feel fuller, and understand what others pass by. When awareness replaces judgment, when boundaries protect empathy, and when connection softens loneliness, your depth no longer drowns you. It begins to rise within you, quietly, steadily, until it becomes your greatest strength. Maybe being a deep thinker was never about thinking more, it was about feeling fully. About seeing life not as a straight line of moments, but as a web of meanings quietly connecting everything and everyone. We notice what others overlook, not because we're trying to, but because our hearts were built to pay attention. We sense the weight behind every word, the silence between sentences, the tenderness that hides in ordinary things. Yes, that kind of sensitivity can hurt. It makes goodbyes heavier, silence is louder, and memories linger longer than they should. We feel the world too deeply, every joy amplified, every loss echoing for days. but it's also what makes life richer. The same heart that breaks easily is the one that feels wonder, awe, and love in their truest forms. What once felt like too much is in truth the very essence of being alive. There's quiet strength in this kind of awareness. It's the courage to face what others avoid, to see the complexity of life and still choose beauty. Depth doesn't separate us from the world, it draws us closer to its truth. It teaches us to love without illusion, to grieve with softness, to find meaning even in impermanence. Deep thinkers learn that feeling deeply isn't fragility, it's the foundation of empathy. Carl Jung once wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." That's what deep thinkers do. We don't escape pain, we translate it. We don't suppress emotion, we refine it until it becomes compassion. We learn to sit with discomfort, to listen to what our pain is trying to teach us, and to turn it into wisdom that helps others heal too. So if you've ever felt like your mind is too loud or your heart too heavy, remember this: your depth is not a flaw, it's your quiet power. Your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's perception. Your reflection isn't hesitation, it's awareness. The world needs people like you, people who still feel, who still question, who still care. Because in the end, deep thinkers don't just survive, they illuminate. They turn silence into meaning, thought into compassion, and awareness into light. In a world rushing to forget, you are the reminder to feel. And that, perhaps, is the most beautiful form of wisdom there is. So, if this spoke to you, if you've ever felt the weight of your own thoughts or the beauty hidden within them, stay a little longer. Take a breath, let it sink in, and remember, your depth is your strength. If you'd like to keep exploring the quiet truths of the human mind and heart, subscribe and stay with us. There's always more to uncover, more to feel, and more to heal beneath the surface.